We are in a unique
Full of that
position,
shit.
though. In my perfect world, because Casey Hudson's studio, it shut down, didn't it? Humanoid, because they were going to make a game and then the
No.
funding got pulled. He's the guy that directed the
No.
Mass Effect games.
Okay.
So,
Speaking
it'd
of
be great if
the
he came
game
back to do
stuff,
Mass Effect, but he won't. He won't.
what do you guys think about Elon Musk talking about starting up an AI video game studio?
Can't hurt.
An AI game studio, though?
I think people are reading way too much into that, and they're thinking about games being, generative AI slop, and that's not what he's talking about. At least I don't think. That's my personal opinion. What he's talking about. There's a lot of applications for AI in games to solve a big problem. We talked about how, the sort of like the political activism this year has hurt studios, but it's not the only reason these games are failing. The other reason they're failing is because they're kind of meh and they're kind of formulaic, or and they don't really, and behind that are these astronomical ballooning costs that have gotten completely out of control, where you're spending at bare minimum 200 million all the way up to God knows what, up to a billion for GTA, right? So and you have these massive teams of 1,000 people spread out over 6 7 studios. You can't coordinate a creative vision that way. You can't piece it out over so many countries, over so many people, and hope to do something that hasn't been done before. It has to be something that everybody already knows how to do, that they can just kind of plug in the numbers, and they can do a spreadsheet and a pipeline and sort of like bang it out. They have to minimize their risk and make sure that we're not doing anything too different from the past, because that's never been proven to work, and so much money is at risk now. So we have to get team sizes under control if we want AAA gaming to be interesting again. We have to minimize the risk, so that because look, statistically, it's just not possible for every AAA studio to have banger games when there's only a handful of slots a year that deliver the kind of revenue for the profitability that you need. Probably like 5 to 8 slots that you're competing for. And at these budgets, it's just too big of a risk. And we're seeing that it's falling apart right now. So what Musk is going to do, I believe, is he's going to look at that problem and he's going to optimize it away, just like he does everything else. He's going to get the team sizes down. And how do you do that while keeping production levels at the AAA level? Well, you're going to use AI tools to assist artists, not to be the end result, but to speed the process along, to handle a lot of the stuff that's there. He's going to trim a lot of the fat, so a lot of the middle management layers. He's known for empowering engineers, so you can assume that that's going to happen too. I think that by addressing the time and costs, because it's taking 6 to 7 years to develop a AAA title now. That's what's in the reports. And if you can get those costs under control, you're going to have a massive competitive advantage. And Elon is very much a fan of doing not just a gradual improvement in a process, but a 10x improvement. He always talks about it's got to be an exponential improvement. And that's where I think the AI comes in. And the other part is you have to look at the costs of what it is to create these games. Much of the cost is on the art and content side. Okay, I would say about 80% of the cost. Engineering, that's expensive because engineers are expensive, but they are smaller teams in general. What creates the huge costs for these games is delivering all of that content for players in order to deliver them a minimum, like 30-hour experience, right? And plus everything else. And so I think you're going to see AI used to solve, and this is something that I was looking at many years ago, using AI to solve what I call the content treadmill problem. The content treadmill problem is when let's say in an MMO, you're going to release an expansion. It takes you a year and a half to make it, and players will blow through it in 3 weeks. That's a problem. That's a problem because of churn rate. That's a problem because people, once they solve the game and the new content, they leave, and your daily active users go down, and that's very bad for these companies, especially on Game Pass and everything else, even if you're not an MMO. So you're going to want to use AI tools to sort of like create better procedural content than we've ever seen before. Okay, procedural stuff in the past, does work. I mean, look at Helldivers, right? The maps are procedurally generated. You get, and even as far back as Diablo, the maps are procedurally generated in Diablo 2, for example. You're going to see that on steroids using AI and AI game directors in order to look at what players are enjoying and to give them more of that. And that's where you're going to get a huge cost savings, and you're going to keep profitability up because your players aren't going to be able to blow through your content so fast because you're creating it on the fly. And then another aspect of AI that I think is going to be used, and I'm sorry this is taking a long time, but I thought about this a lot, is on the art production side, and even just for stylistic art looks, you can apply real-time AI filters in the near future over very basic graphics and go from like basically Tomb Raider 1 quality graphics, and then apply an AI filter over that and get a final movie looking cinematic result. And that is going to cut down on the art production time as well. I think these are the areas he's looking at. So you're not looking at a game that's designed by AI, produced by AI. I believe he's looking at ways that AI can be leveraged to solve all these problems that we currently have in AAA gaming and deliver a AAA game at an exponentially lower cost with exponentially more content.
Makes sense.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with it.